podcast. Hello and welcome to Brew Games episode 2, titled We Have Barley Just Begun.
Nice.
So on this episode, we have... Where am I going to go with this?
You're going to review the game I challenged to you last week, which is Elm Awake.
Yes.
And I'm going to review Nukem Forever.
Nukem Forever, yes. And we'll start with the beers first.
Do you want to, one more time, go over why we're doing this? Or do you think that's enough times?
I think it's enough times, but we can do a fast recap. So, reason why we're doing this, we both love beer. So, every episode we're going to pick a beer for the other person to try, get a live reaction for you guys of what we think of it. We also do a little synopsis of the beer according to the brewery or Wikipedia, different sources that we find. After that, we will review the games we've challenged each other to from our Steam libraries. We both have a very extensive list of games that we've purchased through Steam sales and never got around to playing most of those games.
Like women in shoes?
Yeah.
Buy them on sale and don't wear them.
Exactly. So, without further ado, let's get into the beers.
All right.
Do you want to start with your beer first?
Sure. The beer I've chosen for you is from the Whistler Brewing Company, called Checamoose Chai Maple Ale. Checamoose is a lake near Whistler, and once again I've chosen for you a beer from BC, and the brewery has almost no history, but it opened in 1989, and they're obviously located in Whistler, but you don't need to have a big history to have a good beer, to make a good beer. I've had this one with my friend, and he did not like it at all, but I quite enjoyed it.
Okay.
And we've had similar beer tastes in the past, you and I, so I think you'll like it as well.
Okay.
Got an 83 on Beer Advocate. It's 5%. It's a 650ml bottle, and I think I got it for $6.99.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very mapley. Which is not a bad thing. It actually reminds me of like like those maple candies you can get like on the lollipops or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good. I think there's more of a maple smell than there is a taste.
Actually more like a maple donut. Maybe because of the yeast in the beer. It's very good, very complex. I can taste both the chai and the maple in there.
You can really taste the chai.
Yeah. But it's not overpowering the chai. It's just there enough to say, hey, I'm here. I'd actually say the maple, I don't know if it's the taste or if it's just the aroma that's kind of...
I think it might be the smell. I can smell the maple from here.
Overtaking. Very good. I don't know why your friend didn't like this.
He's not a fan of dark beers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very red. If you hold it up to the light, it's a really neat color.
Yeah. Excellent. The beer I've grabbed for you is the Hitachino Nest Red Rice Ale. And this is from a Japanese brewery that started their life as a sake brewery, actually, in 1823.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've been around for quite a while. They started doing craft beer production in 1996 as the Japanese law changed that allowed microbrews to start coming up and making beer.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is an alcohol volume of 7%, so a little bit stronger, an IBU of 25, and it says it's got a intriguing mix of sake, malt, and bitter notes, and there should be some strawberries in the nose and palate a little bit.
Starting to come out.
It's getting excited.
Yeah. I can definitely smell the strawberries when I smell it from the bottle anyways. So is it made with sake? Or
I believe, yeah, sake is part of the process.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've had this beer quite a few times myself. I'd rate it as one of my probably top 10 beers.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it.
I really enjoy it. Seems like it's hard to come by depending on the time of year. I picked this one up at Willow Park, and it was around $8, I think, $8.99.
Cool. It's a little cloudy. Nice kind of cross between golden and red color. More golden, I guess. You can definitely taste the rice. It's a slight hint of strawberry. It's very, very faint.
Yeah.
It's very smooth going down. I almost like don't even feel it going down my throat, actually.
Yeah. Very easy to drink.
Yeah. That's quite good. I like it.
Excellent.
It's very smooth to go down. I don't feel it going down my throat at all. As dirty as that sounds.
So before we're done, we'll have to get you another bottle, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. So those are our beers for this episode. And we'll go on to the games. So the game that you challenged me to was Elm Awake.
A game I had not played.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the last episode, not a fan of the horror genre. This game pretty much solidified that for me.
You didn't like it?
I like the game. Just the gameplay just gets to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So right out the beginning, you start the game and it throws you into tutorial pretty quickly, where you meet your first enemy. And this kind of introduces you to the style of combat you'll be getting into. And because I knew it was a tutorial, I wasn't thinking it would be so brutal, I guess. So when the enemy finally spawned, he's got his axe and he's swinging it around and he's hitting the fence posts and stuff. I'm like, okay, let's see like what's gonna happen if I actually get hit by this guy. So he hits me and I'm dead.
One hit.
One hit. So he
One
hits
hit
me
kill.
once. I go down. I have to respawn, and we go through the process of the in-game cinematic before he comes to life or whatever to kind of hurt me again. So then I realized, okay, this is a game where you're not a fighter or a warrior. I mean, the main protagonist is a writer, so your choice is to run away. So I had to run down this path, running towards the light, because he's afraid of the dark, I guess. And that leads into kind of why I didn't like the game so much, because when I was little, I didn't like the dark. And at my parents' place, they had a very long hallway from the kitchen to the very last room. And when I was little, I used to sit at the edge of the kitchen, staring down the hallway, and I would see shadowy figures going from the bathroom and bedroom into the bedroom itself. Past the doorway, I could see at the end of the hallway.
Really?
So, yeah, that kind of re-sparked a little bit playing this game, because that's heavily what it's all about. It's these figures that come out of the dark, and when you're about to encounter an enemy, like the screen gets all like kind of shaky and blurry. So you know something's gonna happen. So you're like looking all around, like where's it gonna pop out from the shadows. Then it does, and like just the ambience, just so creepy. Just the sounds and everything were so creepy, and like it just got my heart going. And
so it sounds like if that's what they were going for.
That's what they're going for.
Really
so they executed it really well, yeah. So kudos to them for that. And it was just, for me, it was too much. I got about 2 hours into the game, to the point where you're trying to get to Lover's Peak, because this guy apparently kidnaps your wife, and you're trying to meet up with him in the middle of the night, of course. And if you run out of ammunition for your gun, like you're done. There's just nothing you can do. I tried outrunning these guys a couple times. That they spawn by the tree that splits, and I run out of bullets. I have like, if I had one more bullet, I could have killed the guy, but I didn't. So he's sitting there swinging his axe at me, and I'm trying to run, but I'm out of stamina. So he's able to run faster than I am. I'm trying to dodge his axe attacks, and it just wasn't working. So I found that pretty brutal and very antagonizing, I guess. And I just, the ambience, like the way they get your heart racing and stuff with sounds and everything, just was too much. So I ended up calling it quits after that, and I don't think it's a game I'll be finishing.
Okay.
But one thing I did find funny in the game is they have in-game advertising
Really?
very heavily. So one of the first scenes is you're driving with your wife in a Lincoln MKZ with Sync by Microsoft predominantly shown in the center console screen. I was like, okay, okay. And then after that, when you're actually getting to the gameplay portion, you have two methods of defeating these enemies. You have a flashlight, and you have either a pistol, a shotgun, or whatever, some kind of weapon.
Right.
And what you're supposed to do is with a flashlight, you're supposed to put it like on a high beam burst on the enemy so that they are exposed to light, and then they have this like shadowy stuff around them that breaks off. Once that breaks off, you're able to shoot them and kill them.
Okay.
From what I can understand, I tried to kill them without doing the beam, and it didn't seem like it was doing much. Maybe it was, but not enough. So you're basically wasting ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
When you burst, it only goes for a certain amount. You have like a little meter for your light, and it goes out, and you have to replace your batteries. And so the batteries that they use in this game are Energizer. So whenever you find batteries somewhere, it's an Energizer pack, and just clear as day, like predominantly like yeah, Energizer.
Nice.
So I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if there's like an Easter egg with Energizer bunnies like somewhere in the forest or something. There might be. I think it'd be hilarious if there was.
That would be funny.
But the product placement in there was pretty dominant, and the acting at the beginning was very laughable. So it took me a while to take the game seriously.
Okay.
Which I found funny because it's a game about you're a writer, and it was like some of the worst writing in video games I've seen in a long time.
Really?
And the game's not that old, really, so it should have decent, story and writing and delivery of lines, but it just was borderline comical, like a B movie or something. And I was wondering if that was intentional, like that's a rip into Alan Wake and his writing ability.
Maybe.
And that's why he hasn't been able to like write a book for so long, and then all this stuff happens to him. I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's really looking into it. That's in depth.
Yeah.
I would not have thought of that. I would just call it a crappy game and walk away.
Well, because I only played like 2 hours, I didn't have a whole lot of experience with the game, but I figured I'd analyze it for the things that just kind of popped out to me. The bad acting was just so in your face that you couldn't ignore it, and then the in-game product placement was just so bad.
So you wouldn't recommend it to someone then?
Well, so most of the bad acting and stuff was in episode 1, so it's an episodic game, and it plays out kind of like a TV show. So when you go into episode 2, it's like previously on episode 1, and it kind of does recaps of what you did in the first episode. In the second episode, I found the acting was better. And again, maybe that's to do with now he's actually had something written and it's reflecting his writing ability again.
Right.
Or it's just coincidence. I don't know. I'm probably looking too far into it just because I didn't like the game. But I would recommend it for anybody who's into the horror genre. If you haven't played it yet, definitely check it out. It definitely hits the targets it's going for, which is getting you in suspense, getting you anxious, getting you like, where's this stuff coming from? So that worked really well. Actually, the creepiest part for me was some of the bosses. They have like a ability to run really fast, and everybody's like just chattering like nonsense the whole time that they're like engaged with you, but they'll like do like the flash, like going like really fast, and then they're like barely visible, and you can't hit them with the flashlight because they're just like moving so fast, and then eventually they'll try and ambush you, like they'll try and flank you from around a corner or something. So you have to really pay attention to the sound where it's coming from, and then when it's like really close, then you like turn flash or flashlight on high beam, and then you might be able to stop him, or he'll like stop for a couple seconds and then do it again. And that got really aggravating. I think that was the most anxious part, is because this thing kept like disappearing and coming back and like trying to freak me out. And I'm just like, I don't like this. Stop it. Die already. So yeah, if you're into the horror genre, you like this kind of stuff, it's a good game for that. If you're not into horror, maybe pass it, or maybe watch somebody playing it on YouTube a playthrough. Might have more fun with it than actually getting engaged with it. And there's 3 difficulties as well. There's easy, normal, and like nightmare, I think. And by default, it tells you to choose easy. I think that's just the default selection.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna do easy. What is this? I'm a video gamer, so I went normal. I don't know how much of a difference there is between easy and normal. Normal wasn't so much hard, just again, the game for me hit certain heartstrings that I didn't like. It just creeped me out too much.
Interesting. I'm not really a fan of that genre either, so I haven't played it either. But based on that recommendation, I think I'll probably just watch your playthroughs.
Yeah.
As like on the podcast here, and that'll probably be good.
Yeah, you'll be good enough. I can see the whole game to see what I did.
Yeah.
Fair enough. How about your game?
All right. So I'm reviewing Duke Nukem Forever, and this may shock you, but this won't be as in depth as Joe's review. Not so much on the psychological part. I don't have a whole lot to say about this game, but another thing that may shock you is I didn't hate it like everyone else seemed to. And I think the reason is because when I went in knowing the game would be bad, whereas everyone who bought the game, waiting 15 years for it, pre-ordered it, was excited for it, knew it probably wasn't going to be great, but still had like that little glimmer of hope that it might be okay.
Yeah.
And so they were just like crushed. Right? But I went in knowing it'd be bad. It's kind of like going and watching a new movie, and if it ends up being bad, you're kind of disappointed. But if you go like watch a movie at home, like a bad movie, knowing it's going to be a bad movie, but you're going to watch it and have a good time anyways, you end up having a good time.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened to me. I somewhat enjoyed Duke Nukem.
Because you're expecting the worst, right? And then there's some fun parts that you're like, hey, this is pretty fun. I like this.
Exactly. Like I was expecting the cheesy one-liners and like everything people hated, the dated humor, the throwbacks to old games that didn't really have to be there. They're just kind of forced on you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of game you can turn your mind off and run around and shoot things, and it's nearly impossible to die. It's 3 difficulties on this as well, and I chose medium. And it's very hard to die, as you'll see in some of the video clips we might show you, where I'm standing out in the open with no health, and the boss will hit me with a direct hit, and I still don't die.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I died maybe once in the few hours that I was playing. But
okay.
It's one thing that I think was original that they did here is to get extra health, other than beating bosses and that, is you can interact with the items in the game, like the pool table. If you win a game of pool or a game of pinball, it'll increase your health. So it's like little mini games.
Like your max health, or just
your maximum health? Yeah.
Oh, really?
So it's little mini games that kind of help you along the way.
Okay, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So how far did you get into the game?
I think I got 3 or 4 hours.
Did you get to the tower that's outside that's kind of spiraling? You have to like descend it?
The Duke Burger? The really tall one?
Might have been, I don't know. It's been a while since I played the game, but I remember there was one level, I think it was shortly after the wasp boss.
Okay, I don't think I've gotten there.
Okay.
I'm on chapter 7, I think, which is where you're in the Duke Bowl trying to rescue all the chicks.
Okay.
I was trying to beat that before getting here, but I ran out of time. So, so I'm not that far. I do still have a little bit more to play.
Okay.
But what else I gotta say here? The weapons they give you are like borderline absurd sometimes. Like you'll get the shotgun, and if you hit something close range, like its head will fly off, and the body will go flying across the room, and if you punch it, it'll somehow do even more damage than the shotgun.
Okay.
And it's
So did you find yourself punching stuff more, or doing the shotgun punching stuff?
Uh, Good mix.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun punching things, so but
it's very satisfying.
it's very satisfying, but it's not. You get hurt a lot. It's not. It's supposed to be a last resort, I guess. But
Yeah,
in a game where you're just there to have fun, not so much. You know, try really hard to beat it. So that it can be a good stress reliever running around punching things rather than shooting them, or shooting them with the freeze gun or they have a whole bunch of different guns you can try.
So would you recommend this game for people that decide to skip the hype?
If you get it on sale and you want a game where you can turn your brain off and just run around shooting things, sure, get it. I still don't know if I'm going to play through all the way. It's fun, but it's not that fun.
So how much do you think would be too much to pay for it if it was on sale? Like, say it was on sale for $10. Is that cheap enough?
Before you said $10, I was thinking $10 would be the limit. If it's $10 or under, I would get it and try it. If
over that,
no way. Yeah, wait.
Fair enough.
That's about all I have on this. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So for the new games that we're going to be challenging us to, I have picked Game Dev Tycoon for you. Now, this is a game that I played before it was even on Steam.
Okay.
When it was just on the developer's website, even before I went on Humble Bundle. I think it was on Humble Bundle. I heard about this game. I don't even remember how. I think it was a random contact of mine that I hadn't talked to in a long time mentioned this game, and I was like, "It sounds very interesting." I like some sim games, especially when they're more cartoony or more to do with like an arcadey style.
Yep.
So this game definitely fits that bill. Game Dev Tycoon is you are a developer, and you're back in the 80s. You're in your garage, and you're developing games for the G64, which is supposed to be the Commodore 64, or the PC. That's where you start off with. And as you're developing games, time's going on, you're getting into more, like, years move on, and the NES, which they call something else, I can't remember now, but because of copyright, they can't name it what it actually is, but you can pretty much tell what each system is, and they have drawings of it in 8-bit kind of style, 16-bit, where you can tell exactly what system it is.
Right.
But I mean, the acronyms give it away anyways, and you can start developing for consoles or stick with PC, and you're basically reliving the entire video game industry up till this point.
Interesting.
And into the future. When I played it, I got up to not this point, but this point like last year, so before the PS4 and the Xbox One came out.
Yep.
I was in the generation of Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, but things get so hard at that point, and the critics can be really harsh. So like if they say your game is shit, then you get like no sales, but you spent like so much money into this game, and then you're like, shit, what do I do? You can either try and do pickup work, so you just contract doing like setting up PCs for somebody or writing some kind of bullshit website code or something like that to make some money to be able to build another game.
Okay.
So it gets very involved fairly quickly. I ended up myself would just play the first part where I'm still in my garage. When you get your first big game hit and you're making about $1 million, you have $1 million cash, then they offer you, hey, you're like big enough to like get your own studio, like your own office, and like start hiring people and stuff. I found that doing that right away, unless you play the game a lot and you can really micromanage, not a very good idea.
Okay.
Because you'll end up blowing your money on the other guy, and then have no money to make a game, and then everything sucks and you fail.
Good to know.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. You get to like just pick and choose different genres and try and find a good mix and build your own game engines, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it.
Right on.
Yeah.
I've only heard one thing about this game, and that's apparently if you pirate the game, that video game pirates show up in the game and they pirate your game, so you lose sales.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty
cool.
funny.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah. There's lots of people complaining about that.
Yeah. Well, maybe they should drop it was like cheap. I think I paid like $10 or maybe $15 for the game.
I didn't know
before
I had
it was even
it
on Steam.
I didn't know I had it until right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I was surprised you had it. I go through the list, I was like, huh. I'd never see you buying that game, but you had it, so I was like, I'm gonna make you play that game.
All right. You said you like the cartoony sim games. Just a quick side note: have you played Prison Architect?
I haven't. I've been tracking it for quite a while, looking at all the beta videos and stuff with new updates. And a couple times I've almost bit the bullet and bought it, but with it still being an alpha, I don't know. And then some of the changes I saw happen in the game, I don't know if I like them or not, so that kind of pulled me away from wanting to buy the game. But it's definitely something I'm still keeping an eye on and see if I want to get into that. Have you played it?
I have. I played about 45 minutes of it, and felt it still needed a bit of work.
Yeah, still pretty early, but they've been doing a lot of work on it.
Yeah. I'm not one for alphas usually, but
Yeah.
I had a friend recommend it, and I think I'll wait a little more before playing it again.
So you play it on his account, or
No, I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when it finally comes out, you'll probably get some bonus for being an alpha.
Hopefully,
something like that.
Find out, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know.
Cool.
So the game I have chosen for you is Deus Ex Human Revolution. This game came out 3 years ago, had a lot of hype, and I got caught up in the hype. I hadn't played any of the other games except about 5 minutes of Invisible War, but I picked it up full price and ended up beating it in a few days because I was having so much fun with it. So if you didn't like Alan Wake, I think you'll like this one. It's much different style. You said you haven't played any of the games in this series before, so I'll give you a little background. It's set in the future where cybernetic enhancements are common.
Okay.
So you play as Adam Jensen, a security specialist at one of these companies that make the enhancements, and your company is attacked. Okay. And you have to find out who and why they did it. So a neat part of this game is you can choose the type of game you want to play. If you want, it's first person, you can go in shooting up, be like first person shooter style. You can go in stealthily, complete your objective that way, like Splinter Cell or something.
Okay.
Or you can kind of social engineer your way in, talking with people, trying to convince them, whatever.
To do things for you?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, there's many different ways to complete each mission. You kind of travel to different cities around the world, including one in Canada. But I think you'll like it a lot more.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's an old franchise now.
Yeah, it is.
It's when was the first game out? Probably around 2000.
I think so.
Yeah. So, but I did know that this version of the game in particular got really, really good reviews.
It did.
And when you told me earlier today that you beat it in like 2 days, that got me pretty excited. So I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Awesome. So those are the games that we're challenged to, and we'll report back to you on episode 3, our findings and some footage. For mailbag, we didn't get any mail.
We got one mail.
Well, from Tyson. Yeah, so we have a buddy named Tyson. He's looking to be one of the first guests that we might bring on the show, as we mentioned last episode, that we might be looking into doing that. So he's shown huge interest in doing that. So we're going to meet with him in the next few days here and try and figure out the details for that and see how that's going to work out.
Sounds good.
Yep. And if you guys watching want to be a special guest, definitely email us or Twitter us at Brews Games on Twitter, brewsandgames@gmail.com. I'm at jevans.
I'm at Alpha Drake on Twitter.
And that will wrap it up for episode 2.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Till next time.